This video is brought to you by Roon 2.0, the revolutionary music player designed for true music fanatics. Click to roonlabs.com for more information.
Today I want to talk about physical formats, the CD and the vinyl record. And I want to ask, is vinyl now outselling CDs? Now you wouldn't think this would be a potentially contentious question to ask, but it's turned out that way because, and I've got a bunch of newspaper headlines on my tablet here. So if we look at Sky News from the 28th of December, the headline reads, "Vinyl sales overtake CDs for the first time in 35 years." So that seems pretty conclusive that vinyl is now outselling CDs. And then if we go to DJ Mag, who published an article, I think the day after Sky News, and it says vinyl outsells CDs in the UK for the first time in 35 years. And the headline is spookily similar to Sky News' headline. And then a couple of weeks later, I saw a headline from Music Week that says vinyl outsells CD for the first time in 35 years as total music sales reach £2 billion. Because what we're talking about here is the UK. And then the NME picked up this story and their headline reads, "Vinyl outsells CD for the first time in 35 years." So they all seem to be singing from the same hymn sheet. Or maybe it's the same press release, because if we dig in to these articles, we find that they are referencing a document issued by the RIAA, and in their report for sales of, well, all sorts of media, but they're honing in on physical music media, and I've got to find this quote. Here we are. It says, vinyl album sales grew 11% to £150-ish million, while CD album sales fell 17.4% to £124 million. The first time vinyl outsold CD by value, I repeat that, by value, since 1987. And if we go back to the Sky News article, it says UK record sales have been rising for the last 15 years, reaching £116.8 million this year. In comparison, CD sales stood at £98.3 million. Different numbers to the ERA, but they're still citing essentially revenue generated by each format as the barometer for which is the most popular format. And then we go over to DJ Mag, and they are quoting 116.8 million for record sales and 98.3 million pounds for CD sales. And then we go over to Music Week, because they say vinyl album sales grew 11% to £150.5 million. CD album sales fell 17.4% to £124 million. But no matter whose data or data these magazines are using, they're still using total revenue as the barometer, as the indicator of which is the best-selling format. And even the NME, who actually explicitly quoted the Entertainment Retailers Association figures, they also say £150.5 million of revenue for vinyl and £124 million of revenue for CDs. And I gotta say, I thought this was a bit odd to use sales revenue as the indicator, the metric by which we judge popularity. And I guess you might call it the industry-centric viewpoint, because if you're working in the music industry, if your income or your livelihood is dependent upon the income from the music industry, yes, you will probably be thinking, well, vinyl is the best-selling format, but only by revenue. It is not a consumer-centric point of view. Now, whether you think the consumer-centric point of view or the industry-centric point of view is the right one is a matter for you. Because my personal opinion is it should really be the consumer-centric point of view. And we'll come to that in a moment. So what I did is I created a poll on my YouTube channel's community page. And what I did is I posed a hypothetical, in that the hypothetical was that I run a lemonade stand. And on the weekend, I sold 20 glasses of lemonade at $1 each. However, I also sold 10 glasses of freshly squeezed orange juice at $5 each. Again, it's here on my tablet. So technically speaking, 10 glasses at $5 each of orange juice, that made me 50 bucks. Whereas 20 glasses of lemonade at $1 each made me 20 bucks. So me taking the industry point of view, I would look at the revenue generated and go, well, okay, the orange juice made me more money, so therefore the orange juice is the best selling drink that I sell from my lemonade stand. But if you look at it from the consumer perspective, you might say that, well, you sold more lemonades, John, therefore that's the most popular drink. And 73% of you in the poll results from 7,000 votes said, yeah, it is the lemonade that is the best-selling drink here, because they are counting units sold and not revenue as the metric by which we judge, in this case, a drink's popularity. So I'm with these people, the majority here, 73%, who consider the number of units sold as the way we judge the popularity of anything really. So that relates to CD sales and vinyl sales. And I didn't have to dig too far into the internet to find actual units sold numbers for last year for the UK in terms of CD sales and vinyl sales. And these numbers come from the BPI. And these are sales figures for 2022, because BPI are usually the first out of the gate in the world, we'll come to this in a moment, with the actual sales figures for the previous year. So the BPI, they are the British phonographic industry. They are the people that put on the Brit Awards, if you watch that on TV. They look after or oversee the music industry in the UK. They say there were 11.6 million CDs and 5.5 million LPs purchased throughout the year, right? I'll repeat those numbers. 11.6 million CDs, 5.5 million vinyl LPs. I'm quoting here from the quote that I put on my website last week. It's just a straight copy and paste. This is the BPI's numbers, right? So it's clear that CDs are still outselling vinyl LPs 2-to-1 in the UK. And that is using the metric of units shifted or sales volume, but basically the number of pieces that the general public is buying, right? The number of individual units, not the amount of money it makes for the industry. Because as we know, as you probably know, when you go to a record store and let's say you're going to look at a new release album, you go and find this CD, and in Germany, roughly a new release CD will be anything from 15 euros to 20 euros. That's a new release, right? But if I go and look for the same new release on vinyl, it's going to be minimum 30 euros, maybe 35. So of course, vinyl is making more money in revenue for the music industry because vinyl records sell for more money. It's like self-evident. And we need to factor that in if we're going to go back to the sales volume metric by which we judge the popularity amongst the general public of physical formats. And as we know, the BPI have confirmed this, 11.6 million CDs, 5.5 million vinyl LPs in 2022. Now, if we bring the story to Germany, because I thought, well, the UK is not the world. Let's have a look at the sales figures for Germany. And I've got those here somewhere. Here we are. Now, the industry body that looks after Germany is called, well, we'd say it in English BVMI, but in German you pronounce it BVMI. And they produce a report every year, but the most recent one that they give us is for sales figures for 2021. So it says that in 2021, in Germany, there were 4.5 million vinyl records sold. So slightly less than UK. But on the CD front, 25.1 million. That's 5 times as many as vinyl records. So in Germany, CDs are still more popular than vinyl records to a ratio of 5-to-1. So streaming in this country is not, I don't think, as popular as it is in the UK, and certainly not as popular as it is in the USA. And we need to talk about the USA because 300 and something million people living there. Their population is much larger than Germany, much larger than the UK. And many people might say that America is the center of the capitalist world. These are figures from 2021 because these are the latest ones that I could find. If you can find later figures for 2022, please let us know what those CD sales unit shifted, vinyl sales unit shifted are in the comments below. But I've got them here. I think I've got them here. Here we are. Yes. Okay. So number of LPs and EPs sold on vinyl, 39.7 million units. But on CD, 46.6 million units. But if we look at revenue, vinyl makes twice as much money as the CD. So again, if you take the industry approach in the USA, you might be inclined to say that just because it makes more money, that the vinyl format is more popular than the CD. But that's not indicative of what's happening at the cash register or at the online store. The number of units shifted, as per my lemonade stand poll, 73% agree that units shifted really is the metric by which we judge all of this. Yeah, CDs are still outselling vinyl by, 7 million units here. It's not even a ratio of 2 to 1, it's probably 1.3 to 1, but CD is still the most popular physical format in the USA. And I think that's interesting because if you were just to kind of read the headlines that we started this video with, vinyl outsells CDs in the UK for the first time in 35 years. If you just read that, you might just think, well, okay, British people are now buying more vinyl records than CDs. And maybe it's because that kind of headline moves eyeballs in a way that CDs outselling vinyl, and we know that's true in terms of units shifted, wouldn't attract as many people to click the story, right? Because vinyl is super popular. CDs are a bit uncool. They're like your dad's format, like you're grown at them. Anyway, this is not meant to be a super serious video. This is me just essentially practicing to see if I can film myself with one functional eye, because this eye is still extremely blurry. I think I'm out of the woods now when it comes to the eye's recovery. It's doing nicely. Thank you to everybody who left nice comments and well wishes under my last video. But yeah, today I wanted to see if I could just make a talking head video and not essentially mess it up too much. So I thought I'd pick this topic as a practice. And also to let you know that the headlines that you read don't really tell the entire story. They don't give you the full picture. So anyway, if you like this video, please consider giving it a like. If you like my attitude towards, I guess, industry news reporting in this case, then please consider subscribing to this channel. And as always, thank you ever so much for watching.